So I'm here still reeling from the Acolyte episode 5, as is Zuko, who's just behind me here. And the events of that episode, including the reveal of the character who's now been officially named the Stranger, which is a great name, I think, simply for the fact that even now, once he's been unmasked, we're still kind of unsure exactly who he is. He's still a stranger. Now, in the episode, we did see that it was Khmer, or Chimere. I don't know exactly which pronunciation is correct, but the character who has been following May around, he's been very shifty. A lot of people were kind of onto the fact that, he has been suspicious, and in the second episode, when May tries to catch him out, he has some very, Force user-like reflexes. And so I think early on people were saying, oh, I think he's the man in the mask. And I said, I think that's a bit of a red herring. And I still do, to an extent. I did make a video yesterday talking about who I think his master might be. And that is going down the line that he might be a Sith. He did say in episode 5 to Soul that you would call me Sith. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he is a Sith. But clearly he has knowledge of the Sith. So the question is, if he's not a Sith, and again, this is kind of going into theory territory, what else could he possibly be? And something else that people picked up on in episode 5 is that there are moments where you can hear Kylo Ren's theme. It's part of the reason why in the video yesterday I had Kylo Ren's theme playing in the background, because people are saying, is this a hint that he could possibly be one of the earliest iterations of a Ren? The Knights of Ren, obviously the group that was introduced in the sequels. Again, I really wish we'd gotten more of them. Introduced as this really cool idea in The Force Awakens that was just briefly touched on in a flashback, mentioned in some of the, the books, and we didn't see them in episode 8, which I think, is one of the disappointing things for me, because I felt like they could have capitalized on this group. They showed up in episode 9, but they were kind of just there as bit characters, and end up getting taken out by Ben Solo, and we don't really know too much about their history. We've got comics which show us the original Ren before Kylo, and he's a very interesting character, very similar to Chimere. He's got burns on his body, but not the same, and clearly he is of the wrong era, so that is not, and he doesn't look anything like Chimere either. He's got blonde hair. So I'm wondering if he could possibly be an earlier iteration of a Ren, maybe the first iteration, because we still don't really know who the Rens are. They are just dark side users, and I think this would be an interesting opportunity for them to expand on that. But I do think that there is a little bit more going on here than meets the eye. As I say, I was alluding to it in the video I made yesterday, that I think whoever it is, whatever it is that, the Stranger is, whether he's a Sith, a Knight of Ren, a dark side user, or anything that, we might not even know about yet, I think that he has a master who has been, pulling the strings in the shadows. I think someone is still there in the background. I did say I think it's Mother Coral, who survived the events of Brendok, and had a relationship with Chimere before, and so that's how it is that they came to be together, and so I'm very interested in seeing what happens there, where we go from here, because again, this Chimere, this Stranger, is probably one of the most interesting characters, apart from having amazing arms, and absolutely adoring his quirky personality when he's being Chimere. I think that, the mystery surrounding his character is fantastic. It's what we need. It's really, in these stories, the action is fantastic. In episode 5, some of the best lightsaber scenes that, we've seen since the prequels. The story in this show has kind of been hot and cold. I've enjoyed the mystery aspect of it. I think the pacing and the editing hasn't helped it, and certain aspects of the acting has not been fantastic. But there's been an undercurrent of intrigue there that I have, really latched onto. And as I say, episode 5 had me on the edge of my seat. I don't think I've ever felt as engaged in an episode all the way through for a very, very long time. And so I am very much looking forward to seeing how we unravel this mystery of who, Chimera is, who the stranger really is. Because even though he's lost a mask, he's still unknown to us. And so I think we're going to be getting a flashback episode, if not episode 6, then episode 7. We're going to find out what happened on Brendok. And I think that's going to, again, unveil a bigger picture of who the stranger really is, what he really is, whether that's a Sith, something else. But it's just another thread to tie in to, this bigger universe. And I think that's really what these shows need to be. They need to be world building. And especially in this era, the High Republic, where we don't know a great deal, it's essential that we start to build these mysteries, put these characters in place. And, with there hopefully being a season 2, I'd like to see the stranger push on and survive this season, go into season 2. I've got less hopes about Soul. I would like Soul to survive into a second season, but then that asks the question, what happens to May and Osha? I think their roles are going to be switched. I think, May is going to start sympathizing with Soul and the Jedi, and I think Osha might start sympathizing with the stranger after she, finds out whatever it is that happened with her family. So it's an interesting one, but this is what I'm really liking at the moment, is this intrigue. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think, the stranger could actually be. We're very close to 1,000 subs as well. We're only a couple off. So if you aren't, please do consider subscribing, because there is a lot of content to come. There's a lot of questions to ask. And as I say, we're going to be having a pre-watch party before episode 6, about an hour to an hour and a half beforehand. So we'll get together, speculate on, what's going to happen in that episode then. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and I'll see you for the next video.